Good morning, it's Hannah and what's your name? No name over here. We're on our way to La Punta this morning. We're going to be going out of town about an hour and a half to some communities that are still really affected by poverty, which is still the #1 killer from this pandemia, not COVID, poverty. And we're going to go, there's an organization, I think it's called Semillas de Puerto. They started as a food bank during the first initial lockdown, the 3 months that we had. There were several food banks that opened up. Most of them never survived the politics. I mean, which is, there's an encyclopedia, I'm sure, written somewhere about Mexican politics and how that works. But this one has survived, and they've kept going the whole time. So I do a monthly sort of, I get together people in my area, which is the other side of town. I get clothes together and do a monthly drop, mostly of kids' clothes, for the communities that are most affected and have never come back. And today we're going to drive out to one of them and give some dispenses, some food and some clothes and stuff to them. So I'm making a video about it because if you love Mexico, especially if you have Puerto in your heart, it would be great if you could donate. There's so many charitable foundations here for dogs, and there are so few for people. So people are really affected. You know, the extreme poverty rate in Mexico is at about 30% right now, which means you have 30 times more chance of dying from being hungry in this country than even contracting COVID to begin with. And this comes out of all the closures and restrictions from COVID. It's totally unnecessary. And it can be fixed. It has a fantastic vaccination called food. It's amazing. Anyway, enjoy the video.
Right now.
Of course. Who denies someone chocolate? Comico, one of the organizers here, and I was just asking her, what is it, Sembrando de Semillas?
Sembrando Buenas Semillas, planting good seeds.
Sembrando, that's the first time I knew that word.
Sembrando.
So how long has it been around?
I believe about 5 years. It was started by Jose Luis and a group of community members in Puerto Escondido in the Lázaro neighborhood to give backpacks to kids at the beginning of the school year. So they would raise money and they would give backpacks, and then they would go into various communities in the mountains where they had various resources, they knew various people, and they were also giving that in those communities. So that's how Jose Luis originally started to know some of the communities outside of Puerto Escondido, which are even more dependent on the economy of Puerto than even the people in Puerto.
Right. Right, and then so after COVID, it moved to La Punta and got bigger.
Well, once COVID was hitting, myself and some other expats and sort of Puerto community members were concerned about how it would affect the local community and their access to resources, with basically everything shutting down and Mexico not providing any support or any aid. And so we met, a few of us met, and we decided we wanted to, you know, support a service project. And we decided to, and then we were introduced to Jose Luis. We were connected with Jose Luis because we really wanted to work with an already existing Mexican local run. You know, Jose Luis is from Puerto, was born in Puerto. Really wanted to like work with an already existing local organization, because our goal was not to like reinvent the wheel, and also not to be some sort of like expat bringing the people food like savior complex. And so we really wanted to work with an already existing organization. And so we, for the last year, have done like major fundraising. Raised like $21,000 through our social networks, and with that we buy the food. Jose Luis and some of his team usually goes into the community. We're also trying to buy all of the food within the community, so we're supporting not from like one store, and we're not going to Chedraui or anything like that, but we're going to the small little tiendas, getting costales from different groups of people, and then we're completely volunteer run, including ourselves, but we have volunteers that volunteer each week. and they come and they bag all of the food dispenses, and then we give them to the communities. But we've been serving many communities. You know, I think 60 something communities are like
Getting some level of support
to date.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And are they mostly outside of Puerto, or they're also I mean, now that things have reopened, now they're outside.
So now we're focusing a little more outside because the local economy seems like it's stabilizing. Always the goal with the initiative was to focus on the people that seemed like needed the most support. So focusing on elders, people with family members with health issues, disabilities, single mothers with children, you know, people that would be negatively affected most quickly.
Well, yeah, the schools are still closed.
Given a pandemic situation, right?
Yeah.
And so during the initial months of the pandemic, that was where a lot of our focus went. And then as things have opened up, we've been going to more of the outside communities, going into different neighborhoods. And now we've expanded the project a little bit to include clothes, which is really cool, because we've just gotten a bunch of clothes donated including by some of the people we've been giving dispenses to, which has been interesting. There's a little bit of an exchange thing happening. And like when we went into the mountains, for example, to give dispensas and clothes to one of the communities, we asked, they had just had their cosecha, their harvest, and so we asked if they could give things. So they gave us like calabazas and like frijoles and
That's a turkey. So they made tortillas to say thank you for the handout here. Mira, una solamente. Sí. Okay, we are done. We are done handing out stuff. And now we're getting an agua de naranja, Mexican style, in a bolsa. Good? Eso.